Okay, the 10th best contract in the league is Herb Jones. It's all sort of speculation, right? What the best contract in the league is, or value-wise. I feel like worst contract is a lot more easy to pick out because you can spot guys that are making a ton of money. Usually these contracts aren't crazy. They're kind of low numbers anyway. And that's going to get into something that I've noticed, that the big contracts in the league are bad. Even if it's one of the best players in the league, having a giant contract is a negative thing, or a risky thing is the best way to put it. Herb Jones' contract is very small because he was a second rounder. That's what he's on, his rookie extension. He's on his second contract in the league. Or maybe not rookie extension, but that extension of your rookie contract. Maybe he wasn't extended before his contract expires. I don't remember. But this is his second contract, and it can only go up so much. You have to be in the league for a long time after you're drafted before you finally can sign a max contract or can sign a contract that isn't prohibited by some sort of standard. Because rookies kind of get screwed. You come in the league, it's kind of set what you can get paid. And then it's sort of throttled after that until you're, 6 years in the league, which is kind of unfortunate. But from a team aspect, a contract like Herb Jones is perfect because he's making $14 million. That's like, I don't know. Well, let's take a look. That's 10% of the salary cap. Granted, you can go over the salary cap with exceptions, but nevertheless, 10% for a guy that's getting you 11 points a game, playing 30 minutes a game, and is. What I've noticed is I think people believe he's the best perimeter defender in the league. Maybe you like Mikal Bridges. Maybe you're into him. Maybe you think he's the guy. Or maybe you think it's Drew Holiday. He looked good tonight. But nevertheless, he's getting paid. Drew Holiday and Mikal Bridges make way more money than Herb Jones. Herb Jones also can shoot threes. Shot 41% from three. 40 is great. If you don't watch the show or you don't know a baseline of what a good three-point percentage is, a lot of people say 35. 35 is good. If you're above 35, let that thing fly. Shoot it. If you're below 35, it's like, if you're wide open, shoot it. That's usually how it is. If you're shooting 30%, it's shoot it if you have to, is kind of it. If someone leaves you wide open, go ahead and take it. In season, during the playoffs, probably not. But Herb Jones is shooting 3.6 threes a game. And he's making 40%. Field goal percentage is really good too, 49%. And he's only 25 years old. So you have him for 3 more years on this contract. He's being 10% of the salary cap for the next 3 years. That's really great for the Pelicans, who I believe are in it. Like, they're going to try to be in the playoffs for the next, 4 or 5 years, whatever their tenure is. I think they might be. Have you guys heard that they might be trading Ingram? They might be moving on from him. Seems like I've heard there's been some sourness. I think he got benched late in the season, or maybe during that play-in game. I think it was the play-in game, the one where Zion got hurt. I think they benched him, if I remember correctly, at the end of the game. That's what I meant. Not like they benched him mid-game because he wasn't making shots, but he was not in their closing lineup. You know how guys get. Nobody likes to be taken out if you're the star of the team and they say, hey, we're going to close this game without you. I think our best option is a lineup with no Brandon Ingram. They're going to get upset, and that's the thing. I think the vibe of your team is a precious thing. And I'll say it's the most important thing. I think a group of guys that want to play for each other and want to accomplish something together is the biggest factor when it comes to success. I think that's my opinion. So when you start to get guys that are sour, don't want to be on the team, don't feel right about being on the team, aren't at peace with being on the team, you got to move on from them. And the thing is, a guy like Brandon Ingram, I would put like Zach LaVine kind of in that space where they're guys, they're really good, but they have those in big contracts. So they're risky. They're big risks. They take up a lot of the salary cap, and desperate teams will go for them because a lot of times they just want a star. They want somebody on their team. They want something exciting to happen. It's like a cigarette, when you're distracted. It's something that will to make it good in the meantime, you can light up a cigarette and be like, oh, everything's good for the next 15 minutes while I'm still buzzing on this cigarette, right? So I could see a team like the Pistons or the Hornets trading for Brandon Ingram and showing their fan base, hey, get a load of this. But Herb Jones is the guy you're going to keep on your team. That's the guy you should trade for. That's the funny thing, because he's cheap and he's good and he's getting better. Like, he wasn't that great of a three-point shooter the year before. I mean, he was good, but now he's getting better. He wants to get better. So if you look at that sort of incline, I think I've already said trajectory, but if you look at the growth of his talent, a 25-year-old guy that has 3 more years left on his contract, I'm really going to town on Herb Jones and Brandon Ingram for some reason. He's been on first team all defense this year. It's hard to make those teams. There's only 2 of them. Jarrett Allen. But Jarrett Allen didn't, pussed out in the playoffs. He wouldn't get an injection. Remember that? After the Cleveland Cavaliers got knocked out, everyone started talking about Jarrett Allen and how he wouldn't get an injection to continue playing. Apparently, the Cavs leadership and organization didn't like that. They wanted him out there. They wanted him to juice him up, make him big and strong, put him out on the court. Which I understand. Jarrett Allen's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting this shit in my body just so I can get a couple offensive rebounds and a couple, field goals. No, my career. I'm only 25. Jarrett Allen is 25 years old. I think he was a one and done at Texas. Right? He went to Texas, didn't he? I think he was a one and done at Texas. I'm going to look it up later. This is fun, guessing where he went to college. I want to say Texas. I want to say he was a Longhorn. He has a weird contract, though. This is a great contract, all that being said. But I believe the Cavs are going to trade him. That's the word on the street, right? That's the word. But they better get some good stuff back, because this contract is very inexpensive. There's 2 more years left on it for $20 million. Not too shabby, dude. And he's like one of the best centers in the league. He's kind of an underrated offensive player, isn't he? 16.5 points per game, and he does play make. 2.7 assists. May not look like it, but he knows what he's doing out there. He's been in the league, I think this is his 6th year in the league. So I got a feeling he's going to go somewhere else. I don't think he's valued in Cleveland. I think his stock is low. I'm excited to see where he goes. I also like that he's a dork. I like the dorks of the NBA. The Jarrett Allens, the Derek Lively, and Miles Turner. All big Lego guys. I love it. I love it when someone loves something that is not cool. It's just not cool to be into Legos. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm a product of society and I am a jock bully, but $20 million. Isn't it kind of interesting that it doesn't go up with this salary cap? Usually most contracts they'll go up because they're based on a portion of the salary cap. His is just 20 million, 20 million, 20 million, 20 million. $100 million contract. 20 million at a time. It usually doesn't go like that. It's kind of interesting. Or it goes down, which we're going to see. Domantas Sabonis. It's actually a little bit cheaper. His contract is actually not even this expensive because he didn't make an all-star team. So they save even more money. But this is the guy on the list that actually is making a lot. He has a max contract. But I believe he's the only one. I could have put like Luka on here. I could have put some other guys on here, based on the fact that they are so exceptional, like Nikola Jokic, but their contracts are enormous. They are enormous contracts, but they are good enough where they actually are a value. Maybe, but they are a value. But Sabonis is the only guy on a max contract that I believe is on this list. Dude, he played 82 games. Durability is so wildly important, in my opinion. I get so much crap for this, but I think the fact that he played 82 games puts him at a higher value than a guy like Joel Embiid. I know. Leave a comment. I'll reply. If you're going to ask me who I want on my team as my starting center, I'm going to go with Domantas Sabonis. I just don't trust Embiid to be there when it counts. If you ask me which player would I want one-on-one, who would I place a bet on? Come on. Sabonis. I'm kidding. It would be Embiid, of course. But Domantas Sabonis is a great player. I believe he led the league in rebounds this year. 19.4 points a game, 8.2 assists. He's a double-double machine. He's very underrated, I gotta say. He'll shoot a three. He shoots a three every once in a while. Excellent field goal percentage. He does it all. He's just not huge. I think that's the big problem people have with him. You'd want him to be a little bit better on defense, better blocking, but that's a great contract, man. Even though it is an expensive contract. Let's go back a little bit and let's look at the highest paid players in the league. So he's not even the top 12 highest paid players next year. Isn't that kind of interesting? So take a look. Get a load of these are the really expensive guys. Compare all of these guys to Domantas Sabonis and say, are all these guys more valuable than Domantas? They're not. They're not, because Domantas Sabonis will be out there on the court. Did I spell his name wrong? Is it Domantas? I think it's Domantas. I think I fucked that up. I'm sorry. Coby White, you knew he'd be on the list. Here's the thing. So he signed his contract at the beginning of last season. He did not get extended like a lot of the guys in his draft class. Guys like Zion Williamson. I think he was the Zion draft. I believe so. But all those guys like John Morant, Zion, they got extended. So they didn't have to worry about their contract expiring. And he did sign with the Bulls, but he signed really cheap. He's on a $12 million contract. That's cheaper than Herb Jones. Because they didn't really like him. Like, honestly, they didn't. In Chicago, it was kind of like, yeah, he's good, he's fine. If we can get him cheap, we'll keep him. And they got him cheap. Then Zach LaVine got hurt and he balled out. He's getting 19 points a game. I believe this season before it was under 15. So he showed up, and I'm really excited for him to be a valuable player. He should have been most improved player, in my opinion. He's a big part of that Bulls team, and he's on a cheap contract. It kind of worked for everyone. Coby White has to be like, hey, you know what? I didn't get paid that much money. Yeah, I'm one of the cheapest players in the league, but that's how it is. I wasn't great the seasons before. I didn't perform super well in a contract year. Was that my fault? Doesn't matter. But in my opinion, I don't think it was his fault. He just wasn't put in a Zach LaVine type role. But when you showcase him in that way, he's really good. He seems like a really cool guy too. So good for him. Played 79 games. Played 36 minutes a game. You got to play. You got to be available. You either got to be available during the regular season or the postseason. One of the two. Put your team in a good position for the postseason. You have to play. I'm sorry. If you're very injury prone, your contract is a dice roll. It's not a good contract if it's that volatile. If you look from a business standpoint, you want a sure thing. That's what you want. You want a sure thing. You don't want too many birds in the bush. You want birds in the hand, and Coby White is a bird in the hand. You can feel good having him on your roster and building around him because you know he's going to play and you know he's going to be there. Trust me, I would know. Jaren Jackson Jr. Okay, so his deal, it's interesting. His deal, and there's another guy on this list, it gets cheaper the longer it goes. Usually the contract gets it more expensive. Like I said, because the salary cap goes up and up and up until the US dollar collapse is. So he's only, next year he's going to be 17.9% of the salary cap. Pretty big chunk, but then it goes down to 15% of the salary cap. And that's like your second best player. A defensive player of the year. A two-time first-team all-defense. 66 games last year. And they got him cheap because his first 3 years he wasn't very available. I'm saying available. Never said that before in my life. 22 points a game, so he's actually gotten a lot better on offense. He's also done a bit of playmaking this year, which he hadn't done before now that Ja was out, which was pretty cool. So it's interesting. I think he improved a lot this year, even though he didn't get any accolades or anything, wasn't an all-star, but he was able to work on different parts of his game. So I'm excited to see what happens next year. What happens with his team when you have a guy that's better on defense, better on offense, and then you got John Morant coming back, a former All-NBA player. It's really exciting. It's really exciting for me. Dude's a blocking machine. So Brandon Podziemski, which a lot of people aren't putting these rookie contracts on their lists of best value. Why not? Why not? They're cheap. They're cheap and they're good contracts. they happen to be rookie contracts. These are valuable assets. You can trade a rookie contract. There's no law against trading a rookie contract. So who cares? It's valuable. Maybe if you're looking at contracts that aren't rookie contracts, you can say, well, good for them. They signed a player that's really good for a cheap deal. Okay, cool. But Brandon Podziemski, you've drafted a player that's on a really good deal, and he was a low pick, so you're only paying him, what, $3 million, $3 million, $3 million, $5 million, and then a qualifying offer for $8 million? That's like less than 10% of the salary cap, like way less than 10% of the salary cap? Dude, the Brandon Podziemski contract, a guy that's getting 9.2 points a game, playing 26 minutes, started a lot of games for the Golden State Warriors, shot field goal percentage of 45%, three-point percentage of 38%. It's a great contract. You can get a lot for Brandon Podziemski. This is the future of the league. They should have traded him, though. If you want to be good, Brandon Podziemski is great and he's on a cheap contract, but that's not what the Golden State Warriors needed now. I don't know why they kept Kuminga. I don't know why they kept Podziemski. I don't know why they kept Moody. They wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too, and they didn't make the playoffs. That's the thing. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can either say, hey, we're going to win with Steph Curry, or we're going to win in the future. You can't. So trade Brandon Podziemski. It sucks because he's awesome and the contract is cheap. Trade him to a team that's going to build something around him, or he can be an important piece on another team. He's also dedicated. I believe he took the most charges this year. But good for him being on the Warriors. I'm sure it's helpful playing with those guys and getting that experience. I'm sure he's like, whatever, I'll stay here. I don't really care. I'll be a part of this Golden State Warriors team and suck for a while. But once those giant contract guys are gone, those legends who I respect and have taught me a lot about the game, it's my time. It's my turn now. Me and Jonathan Kuminga. Chet Holmgren. Again, I did another, granted, not a cheap rookie contract. He was second pick. So he's a $10 million. Team option for $13 million, and then his qualifying offer will be $17 million. Here's the thing. He'll never see the qualifying offer because he will get extended for a pretty big deal. But for the time being, make hay while the sun shines, while you got a guy that's going to be around 10% of the salary cap. That's the thing. Rookie contracts are great. If you can win with rookies, you're going to be awesome. If you can win while your best players are on maybe a few are on their rookie contract, maybe a few are on that second contract that is throttled by the NBA, you're going to do great. But once you get to the point, and then, Shea's worth the money, but Shea's on a big old max contract. He's getting paid. He was on that extension, and it was a very expensive extension. I'll have to look up. Let's see if he was one of the highest paid players in the league. He's not even. Because he was kind of a lower draft pick, too. I think he was 15, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to look it up because I only have one computer in front of me. So, but I'm excited for this guy. And that is a great contract. There's a lot of great contracts for Oklahoma City because all those guys are rookies. So, Jalen Brunson. I'm surprised I didn't put Jalen Williams on this. I might have messed up. I think I wanted to. But nevertheless, Jalen Brunson, you have to put him on this list because the Mavs didn't want him to sign to this deal. And this is another interesting deal where the money actually gets lower. He gets paid less and less and less every year. I assume that's because the Knicks had some sort of salary cap situation where they had the money this year, but they knew they wouldn't have the money in a couple of years. So it goes down. And he's got a player option for 25-26, got a feeling he's going to turn that down and sign for something way bigger, probably still with the Knicks. The Knicks love him. I love his game. He's I'm not a basketball head in the sense of I understand the game super well, but when I watch him see this move where he cooks the shit out of Caruso, who's another great perimeter defender, that center of gravity, and you notice it because he's not a tall guy. You notice how he can use his body to create space because that's all you really want. The only really thing a height advantage gives you is space. But if you have a low center of gravity and you know how to use your body in control to push off somebody and you're agile, you can create space that way. Probably more than a foot. Right? I would assume. Been an all-star, been a second-team All-NBA player, but Cuban really messed up. They let him walk for nothing. They didn't think he'd be worth this. They didn't think he'd be worth $27 million a year, then $26 million a year, then $24 million a year. They didn't think he'd be worth it, so they let him walk. Maybe he was a little bit redundant with Luka, but just as an asset, hey, whatever. The Mavs are in the finals. Couldn't have been that big of a mistake, huh? Banchero, again, still on a rookie contract, $12 million and $15 million, right around there at the 10% of the salary cap space. Excellent player. Great energy guy, plays well with his team. And it's one of those teams, Orlando was very bad. They weren't a good team. They got Banchero, and now they were, they finished 4th or 5th in the East. He turned the team around, him and Wagner, but he's the best player on that team, so I'm going to give it to him. So he's on that rookie contract, so he's going to be a restricted free agent in 2027. And he won't be, because he will be extended as well. He's one of the top talented guys of a draft class. It's always those top guys in the draft class that are going to get extended as soon as they possibly can. Because those teams like Orlando are going to say, hey, we want to keep him. We don't want to mess around. We want to lock him in as soon as we can extend him and offer him a new contract. We're going to extend him. We're going to offer him the biggest contract that we possibly can. Because not only do we want him to stay, we want him to like us and want to be here. That's how you do it. What are his percentages? His 3-point percentage, fine. Field goal percentage, pretty good. But he gets the points. Pretty good playmaker. I bet he might be, you know what? Why not say this? Paolo Banchero, 3rd team All-NBA next year. He was on my snub list for All-NBA this year. Why not? Plus, no one's going to come back and hold me accountable. So I don't really care. I know. What a boring number 1, Victor Wembanyama. But man, he's got those, $16 million. Again, he's going to get extended. So I think that number will be pretty high. But nevertheless, whatever the top max is going to, that he's able to sign, being that it's going to be the year after his rookie contract is expired, it's not even going to be a max contract. It's going to be that fun max contract, I believe, as Brian Windhorst says. But for now, you got him for less than 10% of the salary cap. Amazing. Spurs should be good. They should figure it out while this guy is cheap, while you can put maybe some veterans in, some good value players, shop in the bargain bin, maybe sign a huge player. I believe they have a bunch of cap space. So this is the cheapest deal. And I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, of course. He's the number 1 pick. He's the potentially biggest prospect of all time in the NBA. And he has to be on a rookie contract. Of course, that's going to be the best deal in the league. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I know. It just is. So let's go through his numbers. Let's glaze Wemby a little bit. 46% field goal percentage. It's not like incredible, but it's really good. It's fine. But 3-point percentage, the fact that he takes 5.5 3-pointers a game in his rookie season, led the league in blocks by far. I've already done this on this show. I've already glazed him enough. I've read this exact stat line. And he's only 20 years old. Super exciting. I'm excited next year to watch this guy become. Could he be the greatest player of all time? I think so. No, not even like I think so, because it's easy to say I think so. I'm excited because I like he said, when Rudy Gobert won the Defensive Player of the Year, he said, give it to Rudy because that award is mine from here on out. What a cocky thing to say, but yeah, I don't know who else would get it. You almost get it your rookie year when you're only playing 29 minutes a game and your team's bad. It's probably yours, man. It's probably yours unless you're injured for a season. I couldn't imagine anyone else getting it. I think Rudy has won his last Defensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, those are the teams to watch. I don't think any of those necessarily are going to get traded. Let's see. Podziemski, if the Warriors want to do something, Podziemski's going to get traded. Coby White's not getting traded unless the Bulls blow it up, but I don't think they're going to But Jared Allen. Oh yeah, Jared Allen. We'll see where that goes. Anyway, we're done here. Thank you for being here. Be good to your mothers. Eat a corn dog.